Hi, my name is Megan Deister. I'm an occupational therapy student at the University of Kansas Medical Center, and today I'm going to go through a home safety checklist and how to make your home safe for both you and your loved one. The checklist that I'm going to go through goes room by room for areas in your home and how to make them safer. This was created by the University of Buffalo, and there's a link there where the full list in PDF can be found if you just type that into your search bar. And the full list is called Home Safety Self-Assessment Tool. The first area of the home that I'm going to talk about is actually the entrance. And this can be considered for any front entrances, side entrances, or back entrances. So consider your railings. Do you have a railing going in to these doors? And are they stable or are they unstable? Ideally, you should have one on each side of the steps, but at least one, and make sure if you wiggle them or anything, they don't move around. You want them to be as safe and as sturdy as possible. Do you need a ramp? Is there an area for a ramp around your home? This is something that a company might need to come out and do professionally, but it could be a good option if that's the safest way for your loved one to get in and out of your home. And then is the pavement or your stairs or sidewalk area around your home, are they even or are there uneven parts? And are there cracks in the pavement? If so, you should get them fixed as soon as possible and avoid stepping on those, as those can be a fall risk until they're fixed. Next up, I'm going to talk about lighting. So make sure that there is adequate lighting around the stairs. Motion censored lights are great. This just detects motion, automatically come on, so you don't have to worry about a light switch or anything. And this is great for outside the home. If you get home after it's dark outside, it's just a little easier to see the stairs. Mark any changes in surface height, such as the stairs, with paint or tape. I'll talk about it a little bit more in other areas of the home, but having that contrast is super important just to kind of give a visual on when there are height changes in surfaces. And then ice or snow on walkways. You can use a snow blower or ask family or neighbors to assist with any snow and ice removal, especially if it's not safe for you to do it, just to make sure that there are no slippery surfaces outside of your home when you're trying to get to your car or leave your house. So once you get inside the home, you may see your foyer or a hallway. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that it is as clutter-free as possible. Eliminate any clutter that you possibly can. Get rid of things that you don't need anymore or no longer use. And try keeping the space as open as possible. You want the largest walkway possible in these foyers and in these hallways. Also increase organization. If you do have some items that are out and you use them pretty often, maybe investing in some storage bins or any kind of shelving or different things like that to kind of help store those items and get them up and off of the floor is good, because then it lessens the fall risk if someone's having to step over items that are scattered around. Again, lighting, make sure that there is adequate lighting. You can do this through increasing the wattage on your light bulbs or just doing the motion censored lights as well inside. Also, accessibility to light switches. So make sure that they're easy to reach. If you have maybe a table or something in front of a light switch, consider moving it just so it's easier to get to those light switches as soon as you walk in the door. Floors. Make sure that the floors are dry and they're not slippery. So especially in the winter months when it's snowing or in other months when it might be raining, make sure that the floors remain dry. And then minimize patterns. Ideally, no pattern should be on the rug or carpet, but very minimal at the most. In this way, this helps them track where areas are on the floor, and it also is more difficult to see any changes in floor height if there are patterns. So eliminating those patterns will make it easier for them to kind of see differences in height or any thresholds on the door. And for rugs, they should be non-slip, so you can always put double-sided rug tape underneath them, or you can do a non-slip mat underneath as well. Just make sure that it's secure and if you were to twist and turn on it, the rug shouldn't move. And then make sure that the surfaces are even, because if they're uneven, it could be a fall risk. Next, let's talk about the living room. So again, rugs. If they're wrinkled or slippery, try and secure them using double-sided rug tape or one of those non-slip rug mats. Again, like I talked about with the foyer and hallway, make sure if you were to twist and turn around them, they will not move, and make sure especially that the corners of the rug are secure. Sometimes that can be a fall risk and are oftentimes overlooked if the corners are able to come up a little bit. It's easy for a foot or a shoe to get stuck under and cause a fall, so we want to try and eliminate those. As far as furniture, make sure it's not broken and it's stable. If there is a leg of a chair that's maybe a little wobbly, get that fixed before using it more, just to make sure it's stable and can hold someone. If a chair is going to move while you're sitting down, consider those non-slip padding for underneath the legs of the chairs, especially if it's on a hardwood floor. It might be easy for a lighter chair to move when someone's sitting down if they're relying heavily on the armrest to help stabilize them as they go to sit down. Chairs should also have arms on the side to help with sitting down, and make sure that they are an adequate height. You can always get furniturizers to make it taller, but again, make sure that those are safe and secure. So for clutter in the living room, cords are a major thing that are oftentimes overlooked. Organize them and ensure they are out of the walkways. So try and organize furniture and lamps and things like that to where the cords are not in the walkway, so maybe position furniture close to more outlets. Carrying on with the living room, lighting is also a big thing, so place lamps in dimmer areas or corners of the room. And make sure lamps are easy to turn on. So sometimes light switches are connected across the room from where an outlet is. So make sure that those outlets are easily accessible to turn the lamp on and near the entrance of the room if possible. They also have something called clapper lamps or clapper lights, where if you enter a room, you can do things such as clap. They have light bulbs that you can turn on from your phone. So there are a lot of different options depending on the kind of technology that you want. But the main thing is ensuring that lighting is adequate in all corners of the room. And lastly, for the living room, space. Make sure you're creating large walkways. So don't put furniture too close together, such as like a coffee table. Try not to place it directly in front of a couch. Try to leave a large walkway of at least 3 feet of space. But just make sure that furniture has enough room between that someone could easily walk through without trying to twist and maneuver around. We want them to be safe and as open as possible. Next, I'm going to talk about the kitchen. So sometimes issues may be items on shelves are too high or too low, and that will cause a person to reach or get down on the floor, sometimes standing on chairs if something's too high, and that's just not super safe. So try and rearrange frequently used items so they are in easy reach. And if it really is necessary to maybe have something higher up on a shelf, make sure you have a sturdy stepladder as opposed to standing on a chair or a wobbly stool. As far as counter space, eliminate items that aren't used, whether that's donating them, putting them away in a cabinet somewhere. You want the counter space to be as open as possible so you can easily put items that you are going to use on the counter and you're not trying to move things around to find a good place for them. You can also add additional workspace if you don't have a lot of counter space. This could be adding maybe just a small island in the middle. You can buy small tables that have storage underneath as well to put in the middle of the kitchen. Or if that's not possible, you could always use your kitchen table too for food prepping or different things like that. And like I said, using a step stool instead of a chair to reach items is super important. And rugs. You don't want them to be wrinkled or slippery. You want to make sure that there's double-sided rug tape or some kind of rug pad underneath. And like I mentioned before, making sure that the corners aren't coming up, and if you twist and turn, you don't want it to move. So carrying on with the kitchen, Lighting is still very important, so ensure all areas are well lit, and this might mean adding additional lighting, whether it be under cabinets or even inside of cabinets, just to kind of help light up the counter space. Also, above the sink is a good place, and any other areas that might be have lower light, even like a pantry as well. Make sure that lighting is adequate in all of these spaces. For floors, they may be slippery, especially around the sink area if water gets somewhere. So make sure the floor is dry, and again, it's totally okay to have some of those rugs there to try and eliminate the slippery floor, but just make sure that there are rug pads, double-sided rug tape, and that it's very secure, because if it's not secure, it could be a fall risk. Also, wearing shoes in the kitchen, non-slip shoes especially, is also a good idea. As far as clutter, remove any extra items from the cabinets, the countertops, anything like that, and make sure that the area is as free of clutter as possible, and this might mean donating some items that aren't being used anymore, or just putting some of those extra items away. And as far as pets, we love our pets, but sometimes they can be under your feet, especially when you're cooking. So to create a safe space for your loved one, try getting a gate that blocks off the entrance to the kitchen to try and keep them out. And these gates can be removable or anything like that, but just making sure that any kind of pets that might be around and under your feet when your loved one is cooking or helping prep in the kitchen, making sure that they're out of the way just so that it's safer. So this concludes part 1 of 2 for home safety. And this is in no way an exhaustive list of each of the safety considerations for each room, but it does cover a lot, and a lot of them are great measures to put in place to try and prevent fall risks and lower the fall risks within your home and create a safer environment for your loved one. I know that this list can be very long and it's very overwhelming, especially when you think of everything in your home and all of the rooms in your home. So my tip to you would be to divide and conquer. Maybe pick 1 or 2 rooms a week to focus on, and it doesn't necessarily have to be getting every single thing done. Maybe make a couple things in each room a priority and tackle those first before moving on to the smaller things and the smaller details. And if that's too overwhelming, you can always try and maybe just pick a corner of a room to do every few days or every week. So by no means you need to go out and do this all at once and add a whole bunch of things to your to-do list, but these are good considerations to keep in mind for safety things for around your home when creating a nice, safe environment for your loved one. So thank you so much for watching.